fought against despair itself. A veritable maelstrom of it, fed by the resignation that dwelled in the hearts of beings not so unlike ourselves. Full oft have I harbored the same malaise. Have I been brought to my knees, crushed by the weight of sorrow and defeat, convinced that I will never rise again. However, I have also known many moments of unbridled joy and happiness. By this truth do I find hope within, blooming resplendent, like the Elpis flower. And thus do I endure. Do I look forward to creating more memories with my friends and loved ones. For from these fertile seeds, yet more hope shall spring forth. And they will grow to become shining lights that illuminate the dark. Thus believing, I leave the rising stones behind, as will my comrades. For, as we have decided, after careful deliberation, we are disbanding the Scions of the Seventh Dawn.
There you are, Alphino. Everyone is already gathered in the foyer.
My apologies. I'll be right there. At least, that is what the story will be. Sorry to keep you all waiting.
What could you possibly have left to do now?
Oh, just a letter.
I imagine it will be a while before we can gather like this again.
So it must be, if we're to keep up appearances. From now on, it falls to the Grand Company of Eorzea and its allies to deal with the realm's crises.
Meanwhile, we shall return to our erstwhile ways. Retreating from plain sight to take our place in the shadows once more.
Indeed. For the foreseeable future, I expect that we must work independently as we seek out problems that want for solving. But a day will come when we face another great challenge, and we will face it together, as we always have.
As much as I look forward to that day, I do hope it doesn't come anytime soon.
Well, formal association or no, if any of you should require my services, you need but ask. I'll be glad to keep my lance arm honed.
I'll hold you to that. So you had better keep your link pearl on hand.
So you really mean to stay, Tataru?
Oh, someone has to keep the Rising Stones in proper order. And even a super-secret organization requires a super-secret base of operations. To the rest of the world, it will be naught more than a workshop for Eorzea's foremost up-and-coming artisan. If you thought our coffers were full to bursting before, just wait till I can devote myself wholly to the crafts.
Plotting to build a mercantile empire to rival that of Lord Lodorito, are we?
I, for one, look forward to your future successes, Tataru. As do I our next meeting.
And with that, I believe it is past time you all made ready to depart. Leave no preparations undone or words unsaid, all right? Now, off with you.
Vamron, thou hast spoken with our comrades. Though this parting be not forevermore, 'tis nonetheless occasion for sorrow. Akin to a pixie's path, the navigation of such farewells is a perilous endeavor indeed. For the most part, however, the Lullaprints embark upon a new beginning. Though bereft of its purpose as a vessel, the moon yet remaineth hospitable for the creatures of Aetheris. Thus do our lunar visitors convene with the Forum, intent upon assigning some new and beneficial role to our solitary satellite. Yet ere that may come to pass, there is much and more each party must learn of the others, a process which doth promise to be very eventful indeed. To that end, a cradle of lovers have gleefully dispersed across our lands in the name of mutual understanding. Highland, 'tis said, did imbue them with her love for all things born of this star. And 'tis Vernant's own nature, I believe, which does manifest in this irresponsible, inexhaustible curiosity of theirs. Having witnessed that which they strove to achieve, I wish most keenly for their long labors to be rewarded, that their abiding affection for man results in a boon for all. Moreover, I hope to continue our acquaintance and share in such knowledge as they see fit to impart. I did not wish to presume. I would be honored should they consider me a friend. For 'tis certain true that I have grown fond of their company. But I shall digress no further. This day shall belong to the scions of the seventh dawn, to my incomparable companions. Oft time have my recites caused thee grief, and mine actions spurred allies to suspect betrayal. And yet, here amongst you I still stand. No amount of words could express my gratitude for thine acceptance and forgiveness. Thus, instead, I do proffer my humble support. Be it into thy deepest abyss or the highest heavens, even if I must needs founder across stormy seas, ever shall I answer thy summons. Vamron, seen to your preparations, have you? I'm just making another sweep of my belongings. Wouldn't do to find that I've forgotten something halfway to my destination. Oh, in case you haven't heard, we received new reports detailing the devastation caused by the final days. It appears the situation is gravest in the lands surrounding the Bounty, where the skies first begun to burn. After that, the calamity was observed in the far north, in Garlemald, and the frozen lands beyond. We also had reports of the heavens catching fire in isolated locations, one of which was an area near the northern empty. Had our quest taken any longer, Charlene too may have come under threat. Thank goodness it's over now. To be sure, blasphemies and lesser beasts may still be roaming about, but know these localized crises should be well within our capabilities of each nation to handle on their own. The Scions are no longer needed. Which isn't to say that we won't help out where we can, of course. As individuals, no more of this order business. For my part, I'll be heading to Garlemald with Alphanode. They were among the worst affected, and still need all the help they can get. It won't be easy. An integral part of aiding those in need is coming face to face with tragedy. Knowing it doesn't make it any easier, though, that I'll curse my weakness, my inability to fix every problem and save every lost soul. But no matter how much it hurts, I won't give up. I'll do what I can for as many people as I can, begrudging no effort. And should I find myself discouraged, I'll remember you. Think back fondly to one of your many moments of triumph and the accompanying determination expression. Even those that still annoy me in retrospect, like when you activated the teleporter without warning. And should you hear about me, I want you to remember too. Remember that I'm out there somewhere, trying my very best. No, that I'm not trying to become famous or anything. That being said, the next time we meet, I'll be vastly improved, so don't be surprised when you find yourself marveling at me. Oh, Vamron, pray forgive me for delaying the gathering. I was writing a letter, you see, to my parents. As busy as Father has been tending the aftermath of the Exodus, he has been good enough to show concern for the Scions. And besides, I made them worry enough for a lifetime. Henceforth, I will endeavor to write as often as I am able. A little effort to set their minds at ease while we continue to be away from Charlian. Both Alice and I are off to assist with Garlean recovery, you see. Though uncertainty remains over what will become of the nation, we cannot well leave the capital in its present state. We will rejoin those members of the Ilsbred contingent still stationed there. Lucia and Maxim will helm the relief effort, with support from our allies, the people of Garlemald among them. They will gradually be joined by those who have finished treating the tempered across the lands. Lest you misunderstand, we do not seek redemption for failing Lucinia and her sisters. This is a burden we must always bear. Nay, we go because the truth in Lord Quistis' words. The truth that, whatever ideal individual may expunge, nations are not moved to action unless they stand to benefit. For the foreseeable future, the fallen empire will be at the mercy of both internal and external forces. And though I do not doubt the intention of the contingent was with greater power involved in the release effort, our allies may well find themselves drawn into a political agenda. In going, we seek to ensure that the needs of the people come first. To understand their hearts, we might better help them to begin anew. By all means, full glad would I be for your visit, and I believe I speak for Alice as well. For fairly as long as I've been in Eorzea, you've been at my side, watching over me, in good times and in bad. How many times have we gathered to share tidings? No one could possibly keep count. The world is changing, and we will continue to do so, yet no matter what the future brings, I hope that I can ever look to you, in good times and in bad, as a dependable comrade and dear friend both. Thank you, Vamron, from the bottom of my heart. Oh, Vamron, how are you feeling? Any lingering aches or pains? I can't apologize enough for sending Xenos to find you in Ultima Thule. When he came to me in Charlian, I was truly torn. As ever, there was only one thing on his mind. Forced to make a decision, I reasoned that if he would not be deterred from seeking you out, he might at least aid us in our cause, and so I struck a bargain. In the end, he was true to his words, and you defeated him despite your earlier exertion. But knowing the state of you were found in, it could have ended very differently. My decision almost cost you your life, and no words could express my remorse, the remorse I feel. It worked out. It is a relief to hear you say that. Thank you. Time and time again, I've been made to feel wholly inadequate. It wasn't much use in battle, nor could I face the form without my nerves getting the better of me. It always fell to you and the others. I must and will do better. And I shall begin with the restoration of the students of Baldessian. Through our work, the Charlian will strengthen its ties with other nations, that we may be prepared to face whatever threat arises in the future. Of course, this isn't something I can accomplish alone, but thankfully, I have the staunchest of help in Raha and Ukash, and our other remaining members. Together, we will continue Grandfather's work. As before, certain commissions will take us to dangerous locales, and we may need to call upon seasoned adventurers. In such times, might you be willing to assist us, not because you feel obligated, mind you, but because you feel allured for the task itself. Marvelous. Sounds something of interesting arise. I shan't hesitate to reach out to you. Until that day, I shall endeavor to become a more dependable comrade. What is it, pup? What's wrong? Ah, our champion and savior. I was beginning to think my chance for an audience would never come. That sounded more amusing in my head. Speaking of heads, I was worried about yours, and the rest of you, for that matter. On the mend, I trust. Glad to hear it. You were in a bad way, and healing magic or no, I'm impressed by how swiftly you've recovered. Then again, 'tis hardly the first time you've cheated death. Your strength of will has never failed to astonish me. Look at what you've accomplished. Minton defeated, her Song of Oblivion cut short, the source and all of her reflections delivered from the final days. If you had faltered at the last, then all hope would have been lost, but you held fast. Now Reen has a tomorrow to look forward to, and I can ask for no greater gift than that. As for the lesser gift, however, the next time you see her, I would appreciate you not describing my travel plans with Urianger as aimless wandering. We've a purpose in our roaming, after all, keeping an eye on things in the absence of the scions on the world stage. There'll never be an end to the little problems that go untended by nations. We will do our best to help out where we can. Which I suppose is an approach not far removed from aimless wandering, when you get down to it. Perhaps you could tell her I am faring well, and leave it at that, eh? No need to mention this feeling of being uprooted. I've never been one to stand still for long, but when I think of home, 'tis the rising sun which comes to mind. How many times have we set out from this base, thence to return when our work was done? On the day the Scions came together, I hoped for Menphilia to find a place where she belonged, but never did I expect to find one here for myself. Indulge me, Vamron, I have a question for you, and imagine Menphilia herself is asking. Are you glad you joined the Scions? I can honestly say the same. But all good things must come to an end, at least for a time. Should you need help, a helping hand for infiltration or reconnaissance, you know who to ask. I'll come running, and you'll likely get a certain funny talking fortune teller into the bargain. Anything Ascendian? This checks. If you have something to say, then out with it. You talk as if the Science dissolution was more than a mere pretense. There may be fewer calls to action, but we should be compensated as before. Why are you so concerned for me, anyway? In any case, I do not want for options, even if some are worse than others. No sooner did Emmerich hear about our disbandment than he offered me a position as a guardsman in the Imperium District. As a former Azure Dragoon, I'm guaranteed to be popular, he said. Who does he take me for? Even without his meddling, I'm perfectly capable of finding employment. And have. Okay. Some days ago, a Hainish envoy arrived with word from Vitra. The worm requests my presence as soon as things have settled here. He didn't deign to mention why I'm needed, but it pertains to dragons, like as not. In Thavnir, like elsewhere, the phenomenon caused by the final days abated when you defeated Milton. Though it was far too late for those who have already transformed, life is beginning to return to normal for the survivors. Of those who sought refuge in Sharlayan, most have already returned home. But many do not have a home to return to, nor loved ones. By an agreement between Vitra and the Forum, such souls may remain in Sharlayan if they wish, to work and study. Vitra was also the satrap in truth. It's gratifying to see him becoming one in name as well. One who has the complete confidence of his people, if the envoy tone was of any indication. I often find myself speaking favorably of dragons of late. Not so long ago, I would have assumed his benevolence hid ulterior motives, but 'tis clear he cares for his people, and they in turn revere him. To know such a nation may flourish is comforting. Vitra's kin sought release from conflict. So weary were they of the suffering it wrought, they shuddered into oblivion. But Midgar's former didn't give up. In hope he made the journey to distant Estes with his clutch of eggs. And though his progeny went on to be embroiled in conflict with men, there were times when they transcended hatred and abided in harmony. That is their legacy and their triumph. In my lance, I feel the weight of their struggle and the strength of their resolve, and it lends me strength. These things I might never have learned had I not joined you. Should you ever have need of me, I will come. And at the very least, it might be an opportunity to earn coin. Oh, Vamron, might you have a moment to talk? With the sign stepping away from the public eye, I've been left to consider what new endeavors I might pursue. And after speaking with Prowl, I've decided I will be assisting her in rebuilding the students of Baldessian. Not only am I indebted to Master Golf for giving me a new home, but had our order never existed, I would have never set foot within the Crystal Tower. How different my life might have been. I would have never met you, never became caretaker of the tower, never became a scion. You give me the chance to do much good, and I hope to continue to do so with the students. For an added benefit, new mysteries often find their way to our doorsteps, mysteries that could prove vital for fulfilling our promise to embark on a new adventure together, unlike any we've experienced before. Whenever you have the time and inclination, my friend, I stand ready to accompany you into the unknown. Do you recall in the realm of the Omicrons when I asked if you thought I may someday be mentioned in your epic? While 'tis true that to earn a place at your side would be the stuff of dreams, in the end, nothing would give me greater joy than to stand with you in the here and now. I needn't be some grand endeavor. There needn't be a promise. Whenever a venture calls, I won't hesitate to invite you, and I hope that you will do the same for me. I'll hold you to that. As much as we have already seen, there's still so much we haven't. Who knows? Perhaps we will even encounter survivors of the Omicron somewhere out there. After all, given how they took to the stars, it isn't implausible that some found themselves far from home. And should we encounter a wayward traveler awaiting commands that will never come, I would bid them seek some adventure with someone, and with that partner find new purpose, a new dream. For if crystals can hold fast to dreams, why not Omicrons? Whatever your plans may lead, do not hesitate to send word. And should a commission of interest come my way, you will be the first to know. Oh, are we saying our farewells too? I hadn't, at present, planned on a journey of any great length. Not that I am adverse to a moment or two of quiet reminiscence. In fact, there was something I've been meaning to ask you, something that has been in my thoughts since the last flames of the final day subsided. During our travels, we have witnessed more than a lifetime's worth of oddities and spectacles, more than can be easily recalled or remembered. and nestled among these memories are certain essential facts, the history of Ethos and the ancients, glimpses of the Ea, of their culture and philosophy. Rather than simply hoard such treasures in my mind, I wonder if I should not be disseminating them in formal records for wider consumption. When needed, I have penned reports and prepared briefings, but ever have I balked at the idea of binding the subjects of my studies in a book or tablet. Truth is given shape and interpretation. When we seek to capture it with our words, it is invariably molded to fit a narrative, no matter how well intentioned the rendering. An event is described as sad, a cementation which fails to express the emotional complexity. Yet the word on the page is what endures, a pale shadow of reality. Throughout history, some have deliberately embellished the truth, but I believe many, if not most, deviations are a result of similar linguistic shortcomings, piling up one upon the other until the end result is unrecognizable from its origin. Which is why I fear that writing an account in my own words would be akin to diluting fine wine with water. Yet even with the potential for corrupted meanings, if I do of course realize the importance of keeping written records, without them, my search for wisdom would be a painful affair indeed. But what say you on this matter? Should I take up the quill, reflect upon these experiences only we have shared, and seek to reserve them in postery? No, I think you should. Very well then. I shall endeavor to pen what I can from the air, and the ancients, and of so many other wonders. But I am no scribe. It will be less a polished work, and more of a reordering of scattered notes. In any case, I feel much better for having sought your opinion. Left to our own devices, we tend to overthink such things. I will otherwise return to following where my curiosity leads. After all, a safe method of traveling to the first yet eludes me, and our ventures into the great expanse has prompted an entirely new set of questions. Should you stumble in the unknown, or struggle with some impenetrable mystery, know that I'm at your beck and call. It never hurts to see things from a different perspective, and mine is rather different than most. Spoken your fill, have you? If so, I'm thinking of sending everyone off. With your permission, then. Your attention, please. At risk of spoiling the mood, the time of departure is upon us. In my capacity as your receptionist, I bid you all safe journey. Till next we meet, be well.
I suppose we're off to Garlemald then. Though we ought to speak with Lord Emmerich first. If he's received word of any recent developments, we need to know.
'Twould be prudent to purchase some warmer clothes at least. Mayhap we can pick up a few souvenirs for Euless and the others while we're at it.
Where will you all be heading next?
Dravania. There is a book I've been meaning to borrow from the Great Google Library. And I can think of at least one person who will be most displeased should I fail to visit before leaving.
We've no particular destination in mind, but we do intend to stop in Charlian before we set off.
We had thought to ask after the Loporrits. I am curious as to how well those who chose to remain are adapting to their changed circumstances.
Might we accompany you then? Raha and I were planning to return to the Baldessian Annex.
Commissions have been piling up in our absence, and they must be dealt with ere we begin our work in earnest.
Estinian, you will return to Radz at Han, will you not?
Aye. For Vritra's benefit, though I've yet to hear the details. I may not stay long.
I see. Then it is here the Scions at last part ways, each to some far-flung corner of the realm.
Perhaps. But I believe one of our number, a rather important one at that, has yet to divulge his plans.
Quite right. Indeed.
Fair point.
So, what's next for our humble adventurer?
The gold saucer. Yet stand tall, my friend. Our journey will never end.
The constancy of this place never ceases to amaze me. An ocean of souls, shimmering and eternal. And yet, something stirs. Yes. Steeped in darkness, deep as starless night, the beast hungers. Alas, I dare not investigate in earnest before the coming of my guiding star, as he foretold. We shall descend to the depths, you and I, to confront the dread beast Pandemonium. Oh, the sights we shall see. The sights we shall see.
Oh. All right. That is it. So, plans. I will most likely unlock Pandemonium on Monday and start working on that. I'll probably go run around, unlock all the expert dungeons, start working on gear. And yeah, after this, I'll just kind of still be hopping on back to my normal schedule, Mondays and Thursdays, and just doing roulettes, doing pandemonium, doing extra stuff, just having a good time, leveling stuff. So yeah, so until then, everyone, take care, and I will talk to you on Monday.